After what Vince McMahon had planned for Gunther, you are going to be thankful that Vince McMahon is gone. The story next on Off the Script.
Why has Triple H been so successful? Why is Triple H running WWE better than Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard on Monday and Friday night? Long-term booking.
What is going on, guys? Thank you so very much for joining me right here on Off the Script. I got a little bit of extra for you. It is November 15th, 2022. I am your host, JD from New York. As always, coming to you from the OTS venue. Thank you guys so very much for joining me on your Tuesday afternoons, wherever you may be. Follow me on social media, at JD from NY206. That's Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Cameo. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on the bell for all notifications, and I would really appreciate it if you hit that thumbs up. I'm looking for 1,000 likes minimum on today's Off the Script. You are going to be thankful that Vince McMahon is gone. Gunther is thankful that Vince McMahon is gone. Gunther was set to be buried by Vince McMahon, sent back down to NXT after the July 4th episode of Raw. He was the current Intercontinental Champion at the time. This is the second time that this report is being reported by WrestleVotes, so there is absolutely validity to this, and I don't know why anybody would not believe a story like this, because Vince McMahon was a fucking angel and a saint, that nothing like this could happen under the Vince McMahon administration, right? July 4th, let's go back to July 4th. Gunther was in a segment with R-Truth on the July 4th episode of Monday Night Raw. He was the current Intercontinental Champion. Now, at the time, this is the first time this report came out, Vince McMahon somehow was souring on Gunther as the Intercontinental Champion. The guy barely even had a fucking cup of coffee on the main roster. July 4th episode of Monday Night Raw, he's in this segment with R-Truth. R-Truth is dressed as Uncle Sam, and Gunther destroyed R-Truth in a squash match on that particular episode. Now, it was reported that Vince McMahon had a problem with Gunther. Nobody knows why. Nobody knows what Gunther did. Gunther did nothing, but McMahon was upset with Gunther for whatever reason. Now, while speaking with Give Me Sport, WrestleVotes provided more details on the situation and how Triple H views Gunther now that he's taken over for Vince McMahon, leading Monday Night and Friday Night Creative. He says, and I quote, "I know that Vince McMahon just didn't like what he saw on Raw and was completely over him. Like legitimately wanted to bury him, go back to NXT, that type of stuff," end quote. Now, per the report, Triple H sees Gunther as somebody that can be a major main event player in WWE down the line. It was said that Gunther's match with Sheamus at Clash of the Castle helped a lot with the perception of the Intercontinental Champion and the Intercontinental Championship. Now, I'm going to throw up a picture of Gunther then and Gunther now. You see the transformation of Gunther from what he was in the Indies and the early days of NXT. He didn't look that bad in NXT, but that was Gunther of old. And on the right, you see Gunther as you see him now, current day Intercontinental Champion. Gunther appeared on a Fox podcast with He Who Shall Not Be Named. Gunther was asked what he thought of his name being changed from Walter to Gunther when he came to SmackDown. He said this: "Walter is my real name. From the side of the company, it makes sense. A lot more sense if you actually can have some ownership on the name of an athlete that you present or put out there to an audience. I kind of expected it, but it was fine with me. I think it was fine for the fans, too. I think we're well past that phase of caring about Walter or Gunther. Now, Gunther does sound a little silly compared to Walter, but I don't think people are making a big deal about it now. I think we are very used to the name Gunther. On his weight loss, he said this: I lost about 60 to 65 pounds. I always loved the look of the big Japanese heavyweights like Stan Hansen, Terry Gordy, Vader, Scott Norton, like those chunky foreign heavyweights. I always loved the look, and I always thought that look really suited my style. There was never any big reason for me to be like, okay, let's change that. Also, nobody ever said that to me either. When I was signed, I was around that size, and nobody ever saw it as an issue. It just fitted me. Of course, Triple H is not as shallow as Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard, where they label everybody fat, and everybody's got to look like a fucking supermodel or some big heavyweight muscular fucking on steroids like Chris Masters type guy. Nobody wants that on the main roster, and that is just a day and age that we're not living in anymore. But now there are always this perception of change. I kind of knew moving over that I was going to change some stuff, even though I didn't exactly know what it was. But I always thought, like, I have to do my part. I have to show that I'm adapting, and I have to show that I'm putting in the work to change. I think that was the most obvious choice for me to do. Also, going forward, I knew I would be on the main roster. It's a national television show that's seen not just by wrestling hardcore fans, it's seen by everybody, regular people. Looking like how I look now, I will be more appealing and stand out more and look better because of it. And I think in that context, I was performing before. I think I got taken serious and got away with being a serious competitor like that. But I think if you're in the top of the food chain or at the top of the food chain, in the top league on national television every week, and you want to represent the top tier athletes, you have to be in shape to do so. End quote. Vince McMahon wanted to bury the Intercontinental Champion. Vince McMahon wanted to bury the Intercontinental Championship. This man, I'm going to throw it up there again, got himself into shape because he knew exactly what Vince McMahon was going to expect. He knew exactly what Bruce Pritchard was going to expect. He knew what WWE needed from him. He went out there and did his part. He said nothing as far as backlash. He did not give them any lip. They changed his name. He changed his look. He moved to the States from Austria. He got engaged to somebody who I believe was living here. Ginny, I believe, was living here. Moved here. Wrestles for the WWE and did everything that they wanted him to do. And Vince McMahon was going to bury him. There was no explanation. There was no reason for Vince McMahon souring on Gunther. The reason why Gunther was in that position with Vince McMahon in charge was because Vince McMahon could not take Gunther the way you see him now and intentionally bury him from the word go. It would be too obvious. WWE took Gunther. They gave him a little run with the Intercontinental Championship. And then Vince wanted to play the games that he usually does with the NXT talent that was highly touted in the Paul Levesque NXT. If he did it right away, it would be blatantly obvious what his intentions were. He let it sit, and then he went and did what Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard usually do, and that is kill everything that Triple H created. That's the reason why he didn't do it when he wanted. He needed to sit on it, and he figured, you know what? I don't want to, but I'm going to. Let's give him a chance. And then Vince McMahon, for no reason, was going to bury him. And you probably would have done him a favor to send him back down to NXT if Vince McMahon was still in charge of the main roster. Everything this man did, and he still was being punished for it. Now you look at Triple H and what he's done with Gunther and what he's done with the Intercontinental Championship and what he will continue to do with Gunther and what he will still continue to do with the Intercontinental Championship. The match with Sheamus at Clash at the Castle and the feud with Sheamus that I hope goes into WrestleMania will not only make both men better than where they are now, it will make the Intercontinental Championship seem like the biggest championship outside of both world championships. And then Gunther will move on to the heavyweight scene and he will be a world champion. This is somebody that's going to carry a brand as a world champion. You have something that's very rare in Gunther, and that is a world champion heel that can be as dominant as and as unbeatable as anybody in the WWE, and that makes for a great story. Just so by default, he's going to be Gunther that we know and love, and how great he is in the ring, it's going to make everything around him that much better, because a guy like that with that capability and that wrestling ability, that's easy to book if you're Triple H. Just follow the recipe and follow the formula you did in NXT. It's not that difficult to do. No matter who he's in the ring with, Seth Rollins, Cody Rhodes, any babyface you want to put up against Gunther to challenge him and take that title off of him when that time comes, it is going to be a colossal match that is going to be one for the ages. Gunther is one of the best pro wrestlers on the face of the planet. And people are arguing with me when I talked about this on Twitter yesterday. Oh, Vince McMahon was making more money hand over fist. He can do whatever he wants. A creative decision like this doesn't matter. Vince could get away with it. People legitimately making excuses for this type of fucking creative negligence and creative malpractice. I don't know where the fuck these people are coming from. I don't know if these are human beings or fucking just absolutely mental. Just get out of here, man. How could you fucking make excuses for Vince McMahon burying somebody like this? People asking, where's his merchandise sales? Is Gunther a needle mover? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You are blatantly destroying somebody's career because you're defending Vince McMahon's decisions, which, if you look at it, there's no excuse. People are defending this man over the decisions that he potentially was going to make, knowing that it's ruining the show. WWE's had a major problem for years for not creating new stars. WWE's better off now with the way Gunther is now than what Vince McMahon was doing or was going to plan to do with Gunther. Absolutely fucking ridiculous. At the end of the day, I am so fucking glad Vince McMahon is gone. It is a better WWE with Vince McMahon gone. And with the way things are happening, we don't need Vince McMahon. And by the looks of it, we never needed Vince McMahon the last 15 to 20 years. Because Triple H and the team now that's taking over and has taken over is doing things the way Vince McMahon was going to do them, but a little bit better than what Vince McMahon had planned to do. I'm so glad he's gone, and I'm sure Gunther is very glad he's gone. Most of that roster is very glad that Vince McMahon is gone as far as a creative aspect is concerned. Guys, that's all I got for you. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that thumbs up down below. I will have more news throughout the week, and I can't wait to bring it to you. I will be live for AEW Dynamite on Wednesday. It is the go-home show for AEW right into Saturday's Full Gear. I will be live with Jesse on Wednesday night, so make sure you guys join me then live on Off the Script. Hit that thumbs up, guys. Hit that subscribe button down below, and I will see you back live Wednesday for more Off the Script. See you guys later.